Cool. So we're going to go ahead and get going. Let's see. I want to kick things off, and as we normally do here, and welcome everybody from probably a long
Hi,
summer.
Susan from Connecticut.
Hi, Susan. Welcome everybody from a long summer, and our team here at the STEMI organization has begun the recovery process from a pretty intensive spring and putting on the NICE event, and we certainly appreciate all of your activity and support. So we want to get this kicked off, and as we normally do, we want to start just by highlighting our mission. I should preface this by saying I believe a lot of people are on the screen share right now. Let me just, yeah, we've got looks like a lot of people on. If you're not on the screen share, if you just go to the link that was provided in the email, you'll be able to see the slides that we're showing today. We are recording this, so if you have to cut out early, we'll be able to provide the recording to you. We have a pretty full agenda, but let's hit our mission first. So our mission is to provide students with opportunities to develop creative problem-solving and problem identification techniques through inventing, innovating, and entrepreneurial activities, leading to greater consideration of STEM careers in high school and college. So let's pop over to the agenda. So I think we had forwarded this out to you. We're going to take a look back at 2016, take a look ahead at 2017, talk a little bit about the Fall Summit, which is coming up in really about 4 weeks. There'll be some quick hit topics. Certainly we want to answer your questions, and then we'll talk about our next get-together after the Fall Summit. So with that, I'm going to turn the agenda over to Danny. And Danny, if hopefully we can hear you. And just so you all know, Danny is kind of in a remote spot, and we may have to help him communicate a little bit. So Danny, go ahead. Danny? Okay, well.
Nope, that's called a mute button. That's called a mute button. I'm back. Thanks.
Good. Go.
Did that guys over the summer, but post-event stuff taken care of.
You're really breaking up, Danny.
Yep.
I am. Okay, Bill, why don't you go ahead and kick off here, and let me go ahead and try to find an alternative.
Well, now you sound okay. So
I got to
slow down.
I'll call right back in.
Okay. So let me welcome Lisa. Lisa McLeod. Is it Balz? Is that how you pronounce your last name, Lisa?
Balaz.
Balaz. Well, welcome. And I know Danny would tell us more about you. You and I haven't had a chance to talk, but you want to give us kind of a 10, 15-second introduction, and you'll have more time to say hi to everybody when we see you soon. But you want to give a quick intro?
Sure. I went to college with Danny. That's my connection to him and this madness. And I have been an educator at the middle and the high school level since I got out of college. And I'm currently on a little bit of a break from my current teaching position. I'm still doing some consulting work for the school, so this is actually a really good time for me to get to step in here. My big thing at my school has been trying to get my students more engaged in outside extracurricular academic activities, including science fair, and so I'm really excited about getting the chance to bring the Innovation Convention to Alabama. So.
That's fantastic. Cool. Well, welcome, and we certainly look forward to getting you, as you say, into the madness. So it's a lot of fun. Danny, are you back?
I am back.
Listen to you.
And hopefully you guys can hear me better right now.
Yes, we can.
So everyone, thanks a lot. We had a great time at NICE in D.C. It was really funny to me that a lot of kids said that the highlight of their trip was riding a subway for the first time. And we got a lot of really great comments about the event, a lot of changes that people are looking to see to improve the event for the next year. We do have a lot of pictures to share with you and some other links to share with you to follow up from that. But, we had a lot of happy, smiling faces around, a lot of great ideas, a lot of great winners, a lot of great people that are going to be hopefully coming back next year. A lot of great support from the sponsors who will be returning next year, we believe, all of them. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the specifics here, Phil, about the numbers that we hit. So we had 265 kids that took part around the U.S., over 50 teachers, 120 judges, over 500 parents and chaperones, 50% boys and girls, about 37% underserved students taking part in last year's competition. Those numbers are far in excess of what we set out to do. We actually planned an event for 300 people, and more than 800 people showed up. And so I think that's a testament to all the hard work that we did here on the steering committee, and I appreciate everybody's efforts to go ahead and make that happen. We had 17 states competing last year through 15 state programs, and this year I think we've got a chance to get over 35 or 40 with the new at-large judging process we'll be talking about coming up here shortly. Bill?
Sure.
Another great thing, I mentioned we had 34% underserved students here. Here's how it broke down. Like I said, 50-50 boys and girls. A little bit more girls in K through 3 than boys. That was sort of interesting. In general, we see more girls taking part nationally than boys in the program. In terms of self-identified race, most people were in the Caucasian category, but we had a healthy dose of African American, Asian, and Hispanic and Native American. A few Native Americans in there too. And so, as you can see, how it breaks down from K through 3 and 4 through 12, largely about the same types of activities there, about numbers there. So in terms of some of the winners, for those of you who weren't able to follow the awards at the podium, there was really a great number of winners from all over the U.S. The Best in Show award went to Luca Riccio, who has since taken his invention to the next level and redefined it as being an adapter that goes into the standardized port of oxygen masks so that people with oxygen masks in hospital can talk through a Bluetooth connection to cell phones and to Amazon Echo and other external speakers. He's actually filed for his patents. He's well underway towards commercialization. He's got a big VC pitch next Wednesday that he's doing to a bunch of VCs here in the state of Connecticut. So he's moving ahead with his product. Maddox Pritchard, in his measuring shovel that won the Stanley Black & Decker Home Improvement Award, he's filed for his patent work down in Tennessee, and has actually been going through the motions of potentially licensing this to Stanley Black & Decker. Eli Matthew has been refining and updating his lip sync headset, which was, if you recall, was to allow any speaker at any speech to be able to have an accessible speech by broadcasting the movement of the lips to an app to allow people to read their lips from far out in the audience. He's been working with the American School of the Deaf to refine that and figure out his next steps there. He's got a lot of technology hurdles he has to overcome, so he's been working with some universities on that. Haven't kept track with Isaiah Negrin. I loved his capacitive touch aid, his Band-Aid, for allowing him to use his iPhone, because he would cut his fingertips all the time doing model airplanes and such. That's an awesome invention. I hope he takes that to marketplace. And of course, Grace Cornett got a lot of people published her picture around the U.S. in her little cart. It seemed to be pretty popular since hoverboards have been so much in the news. A hover cart for a hoverboard just seemed something that everybody liked to post there. There are lots of other great awards that came out. I hope that the kids are pursuing their inventions. We hope to work with you to do a systematic survey to try to find out where everyone is at with moving ahead with their inventions. and we are putting together some programs we'll talk about later on that will help the kids move that along. Bill?
Sure.
So this year we're going back to the USPTO. It'll be June 1st through 3rd, 2017. And we've gotten a lot of emails from a lot of you and some suggestions about changes that we'll be making. Bill, on the next slide, you'll see that the reason we're going to the same venue and a similar agenda is to focus on improving the process and experience. We've already booked all the hotels. The rate is a little bit more expensive than last year, but that's about where we're hitting is in a per night fee. The biggest difference this year is that we got a year ahead to be able to do planning, so we can do everything earlier, and you can do everything earlier, and we can know what's coming down the road. I think the biggest challenge this year is setting up more ways to do crowdfunding and setting expectations about expenses involved with attending the show this year. And I've actually had a great couple-hour-long phone call with Jen this morning, working through ways that we're going to be putting together tools and seminars and other things like that to help drive and support a lot of your fundraising efforts a lot more this year. We did so much last year in basically 4 months. This year we have a whole year to do it in advance. So we're going to be able to do probably more than 3 times the amount of effort. Bill? Some of the high lessons that we learned. Jen, you want to take a stab at this slide?
Sure. Absolutely. Hi, everybody. So we learned a whole bunch from our first efforts at the USPTO and with the NICE, and your feedback and participation along the way has been very helpful. If there is some specific feedback that as we're kind of doing the debrief here or as we talk about it at the Fall Summit, if there's something we've missed or haven't captured, please shoot me a note and let me know. But I think overall, as Danny has said, we absolutely so appreciate everyone just rolling up their sleeves, pitching in, flying with the changes, and I know that was pretty stressful for a lot of families, but we do absolutely appreciate everyone's flexibility as we kind of learned as we went along. Next slide, Bill. So these are some of the things that we learned and some of the things that we're going to do a little differently. Instead of the subsidies, as I've been working with many of you still on getting that process buttoned up from the subsidies and the hotel payments, we're looking to do scholarships next year to help students participate, and definitely we'll need your input on that process. Want to revamp the registration system so that way we can keep better track of those family folks and understanding who's traveling with their students and who's more importantly sharing their hotel room, right? Looking to make the flow of the Thursday check-in just to flow a little bit more easily, try to reduce that really long line after folks had either been sitting on planes, trains, or buses. Wanting to make sure that the food is more accessible at mealtime, so again, we could move people through faster. Awesome work by Courtney Hammonds, who is our contact at the facilities at the USPTO. She has figured out how to add some more judging circles so we can accommodate more kids, and also try to now have them placed away from the railing so that those folks who are there that were impacted by the noise from below, that should be less of an impact. Danny had mentioned about the at-large access to the National, so I will let him speak to that a little bit. And also that last point about the awards of, not only the accolades of being named as the award recipient and receiving a plaque, but we're also looking to make sure that there is a gift involved for the student and vendor as well to, again, just further make them feel special with in recognition for all of their hard work.
Right. So
Any
with the at-large judging
Danny?
next year, what we're going to be doing, this year we tested virtual judging, and it worked out pretty well for the judges to be able to log on and judge kids in advance. We're going to be able to open up participation across the whole nation this year by allowing kids that are in schools that aren't underneath any sort of state program to submit the winners of those local programs to submit their inventions for consideration for a certain number of slots, maybe 40 slots or something like that at nationals, and so that we'll be able to take kids from all over the U.S. And I think that'll give us a lot more representation from the nation at large. Bill?
So this is my slide, I guess. So
That's your slide.
yes, exactly. So we've got a good team formed to take a look at the judging process, and we've got we're actually in the process right now of scheduling our first meeting. It'll be sometime in the next week or so, and our core focus is going to be to focus on the judging categories and the criteria and the process, and we really want to get actually the categories squared away before the meeting coming up in Michigan. So we're kind of putting the foot to the pedal to get that one squared away so that you all can go home knowing what the categories will be. That's pretty much it. If anyone who hasn't yet thought about this, if you'd like to join the discussion, we do have a good group, but if you'd like to join the discussion, we'd certainly welcome you. So just pop me an email. Thanks. Danny, back to you.
So we've got a lot of ideas from what we've heard from you so far about what we need to do for the national conference next year. At the fall summit, we're going to be drilling down in a lot of detail here, so I don't feel like we need to go and go through all those bullet points we just went through very discreetly here on the phone in more detail. We'll cover those at the fall summit. But if you do have some burning issues that you want to make sure are definitely covered off on next year or dealt with differently, by all means, drop us an email so we can get started on that, make sure it's on the agenda for the fall summit. So talk about the fall summit, Bill. This is going to be a really fun time. Basically, we picked a venue that is got a lot of strategic significance to us as an organization, and we'll be talking more about that in a little bit. But the meeting's going to be to set the near-term course for STEMI and for NICE, and we've got a sponsor who we can't name yet because the contracts aren't done, but we will tell you who they are. It won't surprise you. That will allow us to send one person, all expenses paid from each state, and we welcome anybody else to show up. It's just that they're going to have to cover their costs of attending because of the expense that we can't cover underneath the amount of money we're getting from the sponsor. So this will allow about 25 people or so to show up from around the nation and take part in this. We do need to get your RSVPs back ASAP. I know that you guys, I think everyone on the phone call has gotten an invitation. If not, contact Jen. Her number is later on in this presentation. But Bill, go ahead, next slide. So it's set for the Henry Ford Museum. So one great thing about the Henry Ford is they really get it. I mean, they're all about innovation. When Henry Ford built the museum in 1929, he built it as a celebration of American innovation. So first off, it's a really cool place. It's Smithsonian.
Guys, I'm getting lots of feedback. Not
Yeah, I
sure
think
if
someone probably needs to put their mute button on. Nick, is that you? Okay.
No, I've been on mute.
Okay. So the Henry Ford is like a combination of Smithsonian American History Museum combined with Williamsburg.
Still a lot of feedback, Danny. Could everybody just put your phone on mute, please? All right, Danny, try it now.
I'm still getting some feedback. I'm on a landline. So the Henry Ford is a 200-acre complex that consists of an outdoor area that looks like colonial Williamsburg or Sturbridge Village, where Henry Ford went around the world and bought up really famous historical places of innovation. Like he bought Thomas Edison's lab and moved it from Menlo Park, New Jersey to Michigan. And so you can actually sit in the lab where electricity was actually invented. He moved the Wright brothers home and their lab from North Carolina to Michigan. So there's lots of really cool things that you'll see. But we're also partnering with the Henry Ford on a number of global initiatives. Some are industry-wide, where we're trying to promote student invention across the U.S. Some are educational, where they want to share with us a lot of their video footage and a lot of their educational materials for us to share with our teachers. And events, they've got a very scalable operation. When I was there last, they were having the Detroit Maker Faire, where they had 26,000 people show up. And we've been in discussion about how to turn NYSE into quite a destination for families to be able to go and spend 3 or 4 days and experiencing all sorts of things regarding innovation and invention and entrepreneurship, and do it with 20,000 other people. So us going to the Henry Ford is not happenstance. It's very purposeful to introduce you to them as a strategic partner and as a strategic venue, and to help us evaluate different ways we could work together. One thing that they've made an offer to us is they want to give every teacher in America that is doing invention education a copy of the first season of their TV shows, which is Innovation Nation, which is with Mo Rocca on CBS on Saturday mornings, which apparently is a big hit among kids on Saturday morning TV. And so they're all the resources that the Henry Ford has are enormous. They've got a $2 billion endowment, and they like us and want to work with us. So that's a big reason why we're going. Bill? So, Jen, you want to deal with logistics?
Sure. The agenda is a work in progress, and hopeful to have that available to you for some comments and input by the end of the week. I know, thanks to those of you who have already registered via Eventbrite to let me know of what your travel plans are. The premise that we're working on, or the timeline we're working on, starting with group dinner at 6:30 on Friday evening, a full day Saturday, and hopefully a full day Sunday, although we do understand some folks will need to leave Sunday evening, so we're going to try to front load the very best stuff so that way nobody misses those key points. Next slide, Bill. And if you would, as part of the Eventbrite link, it's probably easier if you would to book your flights and then register on Eventbrite, because some of the questions are asking for your travel time, so that we can help to arrange shuttle transportation to and from the airport. If that's not needed, just please let me know. And I will be working out kind of a form for travel expense submission on the backside probably within the next week or so. And if you have any questions, please give me a shout via email at my sending account.
And Jen, if I'm not correct, the goal is to be able to hand people a check for their reimbursement at the event itself, correct?
Yes, it is. And I appreciate one of the challenges to that is because the travel includes your local home airport parking. If that's not something you pay in advance, then you may not be able to submit your expenses, which is fine. I will catch up with you as soon as you can clear those through. It doesn't need to be the actual receipt. You know, what you plan to book is fine as well. And the last thing I will share is, you know, we certainly don't want to have folks cut corners on your expenses, right? We want to make sure people are submitting what they need to, but also know that where we have other folks paying their own way, as we have sponsor dollars left over, we will certainly do what we can to help defray the cost of those other folks traveling.
So on the quick hit.
So just before we leave that, are there any logistics questions about the fall summit that anybody wants to ask questions about right now? Because we know that's coming up in just a little over a month now. Reminding everybody you're on mute.
I have a question. This is Austin from Texas. We're still waiting for approval to go to this event from our executive director. The last day that we could possibly RSVP is the 9th, correct?
So, I mean, that's our desired date, but Jen, I'm sure that if someone's still waiting for approval, that we would wait for that, right?
Absolutely. I think I may have set the Eventbrite to close on the 9th at 11:59 p.m., so hopefully you'll get your news before close of business. But Austin, please,
Okay.
if you have trouble registering, let me know, and I'm happy to adjust that.
Right. Yeah, the
Okay.
point is, if you're definitely not going to come, let us know you're not going to come so we can send someone else. But if you're still going through the approvals and that stuff, just let us know, and we just want to make sure that as many people can go as possible.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the STEMI Summit? If you're asking, you may be on mute, so we can't hear you.
Okay.
If you do have other questions, oh, I'm sorry.
Sounds like a wrap, so we can move on to the quick hits.
Yep, sounds good. Okay, video access.
So we hired photographers and videographers at NICE to take a lot of pictures, and our sponsor, Stanley Black & Decker, has made available its production staff to create videos that we can all use to help tell our story and raise money and enthuse teachers and superintendents and principals across the nation. Jen, actually, she has an undergraduate degree in video production and used to work at ESPN, and so she's going to help lead the charge here working with Quinn at Stanley Black & Decker to create those videos. We're first creating a 2-minute video for showcasing NICE 2016 and the STEMI mission with the goal of it to be ready in time for the September professional development, the first professional development rounds hitting the U.S., the first one we're aware of is September 24th in California. And you can this be available to anybody to use at any of your professional development programs across the U.S. We'll also show it at the October Summit. The long-term idea here is to make videos that are either self-sufficient for you or that can be added to by you so that you guys can create very localized videos. So we might create a video that's 85% complete, and you might add local videos at key parts there that are known to add in your own local story. Or, for instance, we've got videos that we're making about judging. And so what it's like to be a judge, what does it mean to be a judge, what experience do you have to be a judge, that anybody could use, we believe, to go ahead and help recruit judges to the event, to your local events. So we've got raw footage that if you really want all the raw footage, there's 14 hours of it. We're happy to provide it to you for your use and consumption. Chances are you probably want to wait for the finished versions and to see how those will look like. Go on to the next slide. Bill, I think there's a...
Danny, can I ask you? It's Brenda. I'm trying to find a videographer for Jake's presentation. Is it worth my doing that, or are you going to do it on your end?
If you want a videographer, I'm sure our videographer here can find one through his videographer networks and that sort of stuff. It'd be nice to get pictures of teachers learning and working together and that sort of stuff. We don't have any videos of the training sessions at this point, so that would be a great idea. Sure. So I can put you in contact with our videographer here in Connecticut. He can find you someone in California.
Okay, sounds good.
So we expect by the end of the year to have multiple videos. We're not sure of the timetables and the time frames, but we'll let you know as to when these are available. And if you guys have any specific requests about videos that you think would really help your mission, let Jen know. We also have a PR person, and we need ammunition. You may have seen the article in eSchool News this week, and there's another one coming out in a couple other publications next week. We are talking to editors, and we'd love to publicize your programs and your kids. If you can send us any information about progress that your kids are making, particularly ones that went to NICE last year, send that to us and send that to Sue O'Keefe as well as myself. And if we can get them on the air or get them talking to a reporter directly, we will make arrangements with you to do that. So the idea here is that we've got a PR person to help you out, so you should take advantage of that if you need help. And by the way, she can call if you're in Chicago, Annalise, and you want her to call Chicago TV stations or stuff, she can do that.
Awesome.
Okay, next slide. Bill?
Yep, we're on it. Accelerator program.
Oh my gosh, that's how slow. See, my internet is just for crap today because it hasn't even changed slides yet. So accelerator program. Okay, I'm going to guess what this is. Okay, if you recall, we announced at the show that we were working with Venture Hive down in Miami to launch a virtual program over the summer. They gave us a proposal. It was all exciting. It seemed like exactly the thing that we wanted to do. And we went to follow up after the show with it, and we couldn't get really a response here to really go and move ahead with them. And so we're having to sort of go back to square zero and start that up. So we've been talking with some national entities as well as some large corporations about how to put that program together. It's still our desire to create a national resource where kids that want to start advancing their ideas towards actual commercialization can go and watch videos and take some classes and learn about the process. And for the kids that reach certain milestones, actually then be able to enter a virtual accelerator where they're assigned mentoring and other resources to be able to go and move that towards commercialization. And so if you've got some kids that you think that their inventions fall in that category, that they're really anxious to be moving ahead, make us aware of them. I'm having a hard time keeping up with all the parents that are emailing me asking for help. So we're trying to find a good process to do that. But for right now, that's where we're at. Is that the program is still under development, and we'll let you know as it rolls out and becomes more detailed. Bill, I've lost my internet connection here, so if you could keep me going and just tell me what's on the slide.
We're on to the next. Yeah, we're on to the next one, which is National Invent Across America Day.
Great. So the STEM education group at the Clinton Global Initiative, the last meeting, they came up with an idea to have an Invent Across America Day. And there was a meeting at the Henry Ford about back in July to try to advance this idea and to set up a mechanism to do this. And so there are a lot of really interesting ideas about that. The problem is they were trying to base these off of the same type of process like you have a National Science Day or National Engineering Day. Well, those are fairly easy because you take an experiment or you take an engineering design like a solar sprint car or some sort of kit, and you go and you can time that and say everybody can do that in 55 minutes, and you can have a national science experiment that happens and everybody's happy. With invention doesn't happen that way. You're not following a kit. You're not following a specific process. And so we're open for any sort of ideas that you've got about how we might have an Invent Across America Day. They're really looking to us to really come up with some ideas here because I think that they're really running around in circles. You've got a lot of great brands that want to make this happen, like Shell Oil and some other people like that, Bose, that want to go ahead and throw their resources around this to make this happen. But we need an idea. And so if anybody has an idea about how we might do this, some of the constructs they were trying to work with was, well, is there something that we could start on the East Coast and end up in Alaska and Hawaii and track it across America across the day? Or is there something that everybody could do at the same time and post it and it builds something bigger, like some national montage? Or I don't know. I can't say that I liked a lot of the ideas that were coming across the plate yet. So I think it's really a virgin planning board here. And it's possible what we might do is build something around the ideation part of invention, because you could probably solicit ideas for inventions from kids to submit and maybe go through some sort of national judging or voting in combination with Facebook or Yahoo or someone like that. and vote up the best idea, and maybe the best idea gets commercialized. As long as it's not something down the lines of Bodie McBoatface, I think we'll be okay. So anyway, if anybody has any ideas, please, please, please send them to me because we are looking for good ones. Bill?
Yep, we're on to the National Youth Advisory Board for Invention and Entrepreneurship.
And related to this is that the Clinton Global Initiative STEM Committee, so this group asked us to put together an advisory board of teachers and students that would help inform about the national discussion around invention and entrepreneurship and how innovation fits into STEM and also try to come up with ideas around some of these project-based discussions. And so we're looking for teacher and student pairs. And the reason why I picked a pair here is, one, I thought it would be a fun thing for teachers to partner with a student. I also thought it would provide a little bit of structure to have the student, working with their teacher as opposed to their parent to make sure that they provide input. This is good stuff that would look on a college resume for the kids, and I think it would be impactful. So I was targeting and hoping to get maybe 6 or 8 student-teacher teams. And so if you've got a teacher that you think is particularly creative or fun, or one of you wants to, grab one of your more particularly creative, fun students. We're going to be creating this National Youth Advisory Board. And it's not going to have a lot of time demand. It's probably going to be low impact, like a phone call every once in a while to just solicit ideas, as well as some stuff being exchanged via email. I don't expect it to be much more than that. So if anybody's interested, please send me an email. If you don't, I'm probably going to call around and get some volunteers. So expect a call. So anyway, that's the idea. Bill, next?
Yeah, sure, the National Inventor Book Award.
Right. So what we'd like to create this year in time for hopefully next graduation is a book award built around invention. And not everybody uses the same terminology. A book award, in my mind, is that award that's given out at graduation, whether from elementary, middle, or high school, that where the kids say, the French award or the Latin award or the physics award, and they usually hand the kid a book, right, or something that's meaningful in their space. And so we were looking to hand out sort of a Nobel Prize type of medal with a ribbon and a few books on invention, and have this be a set package that you would order through Amazon fulfillment, that for a teacher that wanted to give out a book award could spend the $35 or whatever, order it, and it would show up at their school, and then they could hand it out to the kid, recognizing whether it's most likely to invent, most likely to start their own company, the kid is the best serial inventor, the most innovative kid. We would work through what this might be. We don't really know, do you do it a specific age group? Do you have different awards for different levels? What is a reasonable price point for a book award? We're not trying to make money on this, but what we are trying to do is to make it available in volume, because if any individual school tried to go and have their own custom medal made, well, that would cost a fortune. So we're trying to figure out how to do this and how to jumpstart this. Again, got any ideas on that? If you think it's a stupid idea, let me know before I spend too much time on it. I think it would be a lot of fun. One of the things that I've always looked for within the state organization that we have here in Connecticut was, how do we reward those kids that do this year after year after year? Because the competitions aren't really designed to reward serial entrepreneurs, because you sort of start from scratch every single year. So this sort of allowed us to step above that and recognize those kids that are just doing really well, to encourage them to continue to do really well. Any thoughts on this? Any good idea, bad idea?
I think it's a good idea. And I think there are a lot of precedents for it, and I think schools would be interested in doing it.
Awesome. Thanks, Brenda. Okay, next slide.
Sure. There you go. We need your date.
We need what?
We need your dates. I think
Dates,
you're referring
right, yes,
to...
we need your dates. We have a webpage on our website where we advertise all your state invention conventions, and it also ties into our press and media effort. So we need to know when you're having your finals competition, and if you'd let us know that, that would be great, so we can put it on our website and hand it over to the PR people so that they can start planning around some of those events as well. That's probably the easiest thing I'm going to ask of everybody on the phone call. If you're a state that doesn't have a state finals, well then you're off the hook. You don't have anything. So you've already finished your job. Great job.
We have about 15 minutes or so, and we're to open topic.
Right. We were moving really quickly through this because we thought we would have about an hour and a half worth of conversation here and would not fit it into an hour. So I was going pretty fast. So I'm glad we ended up early here. So why don't we throw it open for any other questions that people have, topics they want to talk about, any news they want to share about what's going on in their state. Any questions? Brenda, you want to tell people about what you're doing in California? We got your professional development coming up and everything.
Yep, we have our professional development on September 24th, and we've got about 40 teachers that are from, it's the start of California putting together a program for the state. So we are starting locally with Santa Cruz County, which is where I'm from, and Silicon Valley and Sonoma County, which is north. And we should be, and someone's coming from Oregon to get started with the same program in Oregon. And Jake's coming out to in-service the teachers. So we're looking forward to a great day of getting our teachers started in schools from K through actually high school.
Fantastic.
That's great. Annalise, you've had some change of plans, huh? You're not heading to China, so you'll be around for another year?
So I'm heading to China in May, and need to, actually just sent you an email during this call, but need to figure out a way to transition this year. So
Okay.
we'll kind of see. We'll
Okay.
see what happens this year.
All right. What other news is there around the table? Nicole, are you on the line?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, Nicole, I know I owe you an in-person meeting. We can schedule that for next week sometime, but how are things going up in New Hampshire?
Great. We just wrapped our online course. We had 11 teachers take an asynchronous online course through Moodle in Invention in New Hampshire, and we had, you know, a great experience with connecting them and having some veteran teachers actually mentor some new teachers in the program. So it went great.
So now that's a professional development program, right? And you're charging for that, right?
It's actually a program where they earn professional development credits through the Department of Education. And, yeah, there's a pretty minimal cost for the course because it's a 7-week course, just so that we can, you know, be able to use the Moodle platform and be able to fund using the platform to deliver the class.
Right, but it's a revenue generator for you guys, which is awesome.
Right, right. Slight revenue generator. I'd love to hear more about that and wondering if we can put it on the agenda in October.
Sure, I think online professional development is clearly something that is going to be something that several groups are moving forward towards. You can only scale sending people around the U.S. so much, and so it'll be interesting to see how all that develops. I know that in Connecticut there's been several conversations about that. I've heard some similar ones from elsewhere. So it'll be great to have more support for teachers as they go and try to do this for the first time.
Right, definitely. I'm happy to talk more about it. We're actually meeting with the Director of Educational Technology in Massachusetts and Maine and Vermont that works with the Director of Ed Tech in New Hampshire to talk about how we might get those states the professional development so that they're all able to utilize the same platform and be in the same course.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounds great.
So any other
Danny-
news going on? Akira, are you online? Wondering how her Tampa Tech fundraiser went, because they had a battle of the bands to raise money for their tech foundation to be able to send kids to DC, and a lot of kids showed up to listen to music, and all the proceeds were going towards these scholarship funds. So that's
That's great.
a neat way to raise money for your kids to take part in some of these different programs. Any other questions? Because we don't have to kill time here. If anybody has any other ideas or anything else they want.
Danny, I just want to mention that Don Boys, the patent attorney, you remember that we talked to way back when?
Yep.
He's really anxious to help still kid inventors. So if you're doing videos, that might be an avenue that you could involve him with too.
Okay. This is a gentleman who runs an IP law firm, and he's been very supportive of the Invention Convention concept since Brenda talked to him about it in California. He has a portal to help kids through to help people through the process of filing a provisional patent that he's willing to offer us for free to all the kids to be able to facilitate filing provisional patents. As you know, one of our platforms for this nation is to try to get legislation passed on Capitol Hill that will let kids that are 18 years old and younger get free provisional patents at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And that is something that we probably won't get to this year. It'll probably be on the table for next year. So absolutely, we'll follow up with you, Brenda, and talk to Don on one of the near-term trips we have coming out to your neck of the woods.
Yeah, and I think you should also put Invent Across America Day on the agenda in October too, if you don't get ideas generated right here.
Okay, good idea. Beth, how are things in Idaho? What's going on with Idaho and Arizona and Washington? Oh, I thought I heard Beth on board. Whoop, maybe she hung up accidentally thinking that she was hitting the mute button. Well, okay, everyone. It sounds like there aren't any further questions, so we just wanted to try to touch base with everybody. There will be a lot of communications coming out forthwith about the summit. Just reminding you to send us your dates. You know, Bill, it seems to me there was a slide that we had in there about the photos. Did we not? Oh, that's it. Jen, did you look at the Flickr stuff yet?
Danny, no, I've not had the chance to research that, but I will
Okay.
put out the call to any of you. If there are any Flickr experts in the crowd, if you would be so kind as to raise your hand so I could perhaps ask you a couple questions, I'd really appreciate it.
Right. We're going to take all the photographs that we had from NICE and put them into a private account so that you all can download the ones that are pertinent to your kids in your state and distribute them or use them as you would do on your websites and send them out to your parents and everything. We literally have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pictures. So I will tell you right now, there are a lot of backs of heads. I don't know what the photographer was thinking, but a lot of backs of heads. But some parents have sent in stuff, and also if you've got parents that have pictures and want to contribute to the album, undoubtedly when they took pictures, they took pictures of other people's kids, and so the idea is to create a little online resource, a hub for photos that everybody can upload and download from, and it'll be private and won't be open to everybody on the web, but something that we could all make use of to advance the program and the celebrity and celebration of the program.
And Jen, this is Annalisa. I use Flickr for all of our photos, so you can shoot me an email if you want.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Sure.
Cool. Danny,
Yeah, it's Brenda, and I've got Flickr too.
Oh, thank you, Brenda. Danny, anything else I just want to mention our next meeting date before we sign off?
Yeah, Bill, you can go ahead and close.
All right, cool. So our next meeting date, of course, those that are going to the summit, there'll be plenty of meeting time there, and then our next virtual steering committee meeting will be Tuesday, November 1st from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And if this time, we've sort of projected this time out because people responded to the Doodle survey with Tuesday afternoons or late afternoon on the East as the best time. If this doesn't turn out well for you, just let us know, and if there's enough concern about the time, we can certainly look for another better time. With that, thank you all very much. As Danny said, there'll be good information coming out over the coming days with agenda and more details on the summit, and certainly looking forward to seeing you all there. So,
Bill, is there a way to access the slideshow after this call?
Yes, this is actually being recorded, so thankfully no one swore, and we'll within 24 hours have it on email out to everybody.
Great.
Very good. Anything else before we sign off? Awesome. Well, hope you all have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, bye, y'all. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.